My wife went out last night. She didn't come home until morning. My wife wasn't even planning to go out yesterday. She'd been on the couch all afternoon watching Netflix in sweatpants. Around 6, her phone buzzed. She looked at it, smiled, and said, "The girls are all going out tonight." I laughed. I thought everyone was busy. So did I. Apparently one of them changed her mind. She asked if I minded. I told her to go have fun. Honestly, I was happy she was getting out of the house. She'd been stressed for weeks. She left around 7:30. Before closing the door, she kissed me and said, "Don't wait up." I told her to text me when she was heading home. She smiled. I always do. Around 10:30, I sent her a message. "Having fun?" 5 minutes later, she replied, "Smile, yeah. We'll probably leave soon." I put my phone down. Didn't think much of it. 11:15. Nothing. I texted again. "Everything okay?" This time she answered almost immediately. "Yep, just saying goodbye to everyone, leaving in a few." Perfect. I went back to watching TV. Midnight came. Still nothing. Not unusual. People lose track of time. I wasn't worried. Yet. At 12:47 I texted again. "You, on your way?" She read it. No reply. 5 minutes later, she finally answered. "Sorry, we ended up at another bar, leaving now." That annoyed me a little. Not because she went somewhere else. Because she'd said she was already leaving. But whatever. I figured another 30 minutes. 1 o'clock. Nothing. I called. No answer. 2 minutes later she texted. "Music's loud, can't talk. I'm getting an Uber now." That should have been the last message of the night. It wasn't. Because an hour later, she still wasn't home. At 2:14 I called again. Straight to voicemail. That was the first moment I actually felt something was wrong. Not angry. Just uneasy. I texted, "Please just tell me you're okay." Nothing. 5 minutes. 10. 20. Nothing. By 3 in the morning, I started checking local Facebook groups. Car accidents. Road closures. Police reports. Anything. I even checked nearby hospitals. I convinced myself something had happened. Because, honestly, that explanation felt easier to accept than the one my brain kept trying to avoid. At 4:30, I texted one of her friends. "Hey, is Lauren still with you?" She answered almost immediately. "No. We all left around midnight." That woke me up instantly. Around midnight, Lauren had texted me after midnight, saying she was still with them. I looked back at our messages. 11:18. Leaving soon. 12:49. Still with the girls. Her friend was saying everyone had already gone home. Somebody was lying, and I was starting to think it wasn't her friend. At 7:56, I heard a car door outside. Lauren walked up the driveway. She looked exhausted, still wearing the same dress. Hair a mess. She unlocked the front door, saw me standing in the hallway, and before I even opened my mouth, she quietly said, "I know how this looks." That wasn't what I asked. That wasn't even close to what I was going to ask. And somehow, that sentence scared me more than if she'd said nothing at all. For a few seconds, neither of us said anything. She took off her shoes, hung up her jacket, like she'd just come home from a normal night out. I was the first one to speak. "Where were you?" She looked down. "I told you. With the girls." I shook my head. "No. You told me you were with the girls." "I talked to Ashley." Her eyes flicked up for just a second, then back down. "She said everyone left around midnight." Silence. Long enough to tell me everything I needed to know. "I didn't want you to worry." That was her answer. Not where she'd been. Not who she'd been with. Just, "I didn't want you to worry." I actually laughed. "I've been awake all night. I checked hospitals. I thought you were dead. You don't get to tell me you didn't want me to worry." She started crying. "I know. I'm sorry. I messed up. What happened?" She wiped her eyes. "I had too much to drink." "And?" I wasn't thinking. And? I don't know. I stared at her. You don't know? She shook her head. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I sat down at the kitchen table. So explain it badly. She didn't. She just stood there. Finally, she whispered, I met someone. Those 3 words felt heavier than anything else she'd said. I nodded once. At the second bar? She nodded. I didn't plan it. I know. It just happened. She told me his name was Ryan. He wasn't someone she'd known before. He'd walked over while her friends were ordering drinks. They talked. Then the rest of the group decided to leave. She stayed. She said she told herself she'd leave after one more drink. Then another. Then another. I don't even know why I stayed. I didn't answer. Because honestly, that part didn't matter anymore. What happened after that? She looked away. We went to another place. And then? Silence. Lauren. And then? She closed her eyes. We went back to his hotel. There it was. No dramatic music. No yelling. Just one sentence. I kept looking at my phone. I saw your messages. I typed replies. I just couldn't make myself leave. That sentence broke something in me. Not because she cheated. Because every time she'd texted, leaving now, she already knew she wasn't. I stood up, walked into the bedroom, opened the closet, pulled out a duffel bag. She followed me. What are you doing? I need some space. Please don't leave. I kept folding clothes. She grabbed my arm. Please. It didn't mean anything. I stopped, turned around. I've heard that sentence so many times in other people's stories. I honestly never thought I'd hear it in my own house. She started crying harder. It was a mistake. I know. It'll never happen again. I know. I love you. I looked at her. Do you? She didn't answer. She sat on the edge of the bed. I kept trying to convince myself to leave. I swear I did. But every time my phone buzzed, I knew it was you. I couldn't answer. Because then, I'd have to choose. That hit me harder than the affair itself. Because she admitted something most people never do. She had chances to stop. Not one. Not two. Several. And every single time, she made the same choice. Before I zipped the bag closed, I asked her one last question. The only question I still needed answered. When you texted me, I'm getting an Uber now. Were you already in his hotel room? She covered her face. Then, almost too quietly to hear, she nodded. I closed the bag, without another word, and walked past her. As I reached the front door, she said something that made me stop. There's something you still don't know. I stopped with my hand on the doorknob. I didn't turn around. What? She was crying so hard she had to stop twice before she could speak. I'd been talking to him for almost 2 months. I closed my eyes. So this wasn't one bad decision? No, it wasn't. At least she didn't lie. Not anymore. I set my bag back on the floor. Not because I wanted to stay. Because I wanted the truth. All of it. I turned around. When did it start? She wiped her face. At work. He was a client. We talked a little. Then we started messaging. I kept telling myself it was harmless. I deleted the conversations. I blocked him. Then I unblocked him. I don't even know why. I did. Because people don't accidentally carry on an emotional affair for 2 months. I sat down. For the first time since she'd come home, I wasn't angry. I was just tired. So yesterday, you already knew exactly who you were meeting? She nodded. The girls invited me out. I really did go with them. But I texted Ryan after we'd had a few drinks. I asked where he was, and he came. Everything suddenly made sense. The delayed replies. The excuses. The leaving now. She wasn't trying to leave. She was trying to keep me calm while she stayed. I need to ask you something. She nodded. Answer honestly. I will. When you texted me, I'm getting an Uber now, red heart. Did you already know you were going back with him? She didn't even hesitate this time. Yes. That hurt more than finding out she'd slept with him. Because she'd looked at my messages. Read everyone. Knew I was sitting at home waiting for her. And still sent that heart. Parents say you never forget hearing your child say their first word. I think the opposite is true too. You never forget the sentence that ends your marriage. For me, it wasn't, I cheated. It was, yes. One word. Honest. Too late. She asked if we could try counseling. She said she'd quit her job. Block his number. Do anything. I believed she meant every word. The problem was, she only wanted to fix our marriage after she destroyed it. I picked up my bag again. I don't hate you. She looked surprised. I don't. But I don't trust you anymore. And I don't know how a marriage survives without that. She broke down. I'll spend the rest of my life earning it back. I quietly replied. You might. But I don't think I'll spend the rest of my life waiting. I stayed with my brother for a week. Not because I needed distance. Because I needed silence. No phone. No conversations. Just time to think. Lauren called dozens of times. She texted every day. Sometimes paragraphs. Sometimes just, please. I didn't answer. Not because I wanted to punish her. Because there wasn't anything left to say. That was almost a year ago. We're divorced now. Our relationship is civil. We don't fight. We don't speak unless it's necessary. People keep asking me if I regret leaving after just one mistake. I always tell them the same thing. It wasn't one mistake. Meeting him wasn't the mistake. Going to another bar wasn't the mistake. Going to his hotel wasn't the mistake. Sleeping with him wasn't even the first mistake. The first mistake happened every time she looked at my message saying, "Are you okay?" and decided to lie instead. Because every lie made the next decision easier. Until there was nothing left of us to save. If you're reading this, I genuinely like your opinion. Could you ever trust someone again after a night like that? Not because they confessed, but because they only told the truth after they had no other choice. Sometimes I wonder if I gave up too quickly. Then I remember sitting alone at 3 a.m, refreshing my phone, praying the woman I loved was alive. While she was sending me, "I'm leaving now, red heart," from another man's hotel room. And every time I remember that, I know I made the only decision I could live with.